Show. Always Irish. Show. Always Irish. Show. Sometimes it's good to just yell about football. What are you doing? Don't do this to me, Harry! The Ohio State. It's Ohio State! What do you mean, the? It's a poison! I almost stroked out and died over it. I'm glad to be at the party. I'm mad we're this late. You ain't a captain of nothing but a sinking ship! That helps the defense without them even doing a damn thing! Doing a damn thing! The call-in line. 312-988-15. You tell Johnny all you've heard and seen. No Irish. No Irish. No Irish. No Irish. Irish. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Welcome back, folks, to a chilly Friday fun day. Man, I don't know where you guys at. The weather's, it was like 82 or something the other day. I'm sitting out by the pool, and then yesterday it's like 50 and windy and cold. I don't know. So spring in Illinois, I guess I get what I get, right? I get what I get. Thanks for being here. Man, you guys with the chat early. Oh, you're hitting on some big stuff. I can't wait. Oh, man. About to call in 615, make it live. Let's do it. We could do that. Dial me up. What is it? Beezer 12 washing beer. Is that from the Key and Peele skit where they're doing all of the players and they're all weird names, and then he does the pterodactyl sound? Is that what that's from? Because if it is, I do thank you for reminding me how funny that was. Oh man, the call-in lines are up. 312-988-15 dialed up. Tell me all you heard and seen. Feel free, dial it up. We got a lot to get into. I want to go over some of those early chats. There's some juicy stuff there, shooting across the board, college football overall, Notre Dame specifically, some of the coaching stuff. We need to hit some of that. So let's get into it. We're just going to have a Friday fun day, and we're going to shoot all over. So thank you for being here. Obviously, you can find the program on YouTube. Do it. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Appreciate that very much. Give the video a thumbs up. That helps Johnny out as well. Notifications on that way you're alerted every time a new episode drops. I know you don't want to miss it. Twitter, search bar Always Irish or at Always Irish Inc. Emails alwaysirishnd@gmail.com. Audio only anywhere you want it. You can get it if you don't want to see my face. Nobody blames you for that one. The call-in lines, you know it. 312-988-15 dialed up. Tell Johnny all you've heard and seen. Instagram, Facebook, Always Irish Inc., USA Today Irish Wire. You can read all about it there. Patreon.com/Always Irish. Here's the deal, folks. Gonna have to end this show a little early. Goolsby and I are interviewing former Notre Dame player Kyle McCarthy, who is now an agent and represents multiple Notre Dame players, leaving Notre Dame, transitioning into the NFL. And I believe Goolsby was their first official client back in the day. So really good Notre Dame connection there. And we're going to reconnect with him and ask him all about this industry, all the changes going on with these college kids having a little dough when they get to that point, all this stuff. So it's going to be an interesting conversation. So I'm going to have to wrap up a little early to get all set up for that. So if you want to call or do anything, try and jump in, in the first hour and a half, if you can, that'd be great. Philip, good morning from New Mexico. Good morning to you, sir. Good to see you here. Look at you in that suit on that picture, looking real professional. I like it. Conundrum says, collective bargaining coming to ND. You might be headed to, I'm not kidding. When you look at the legal stuff going on with the lawsuits in some of these states about players' rights to insurance, health stuff, like all that, I'm telling you, it would not surprise me at all if this is a unionized thing with representation, representing the college players, and there's a collective bargaining thing and they get a portion of that TV revenue or whatever divided out by the players. I'm just saying, I think that's where this is headed. And I don't know how long it's going to take to get there. But the way the legal stuff is going, here's how I look at it. If this was just kind of like the power players at college football navigating things, like in the college football world, navigating things, figuring out how to find a loophole to pay guys or not pay them or do whatever you're doing. I feel like even when there's battles, if it's only amongst people in the college football world, they all flex, act tough, do what they're going to do and whatever. And there's this gamesmanship being played. Follow me here. But now that this is getting to like major courts, it's changing things because all those power players in college football, they don't have any power over the courts. They have power over college football stuff. Once it gets in a federal court, they do not care. That's the feeling I have with all this is these people are all happy to flex and make power play moves and wheel and deal and do all that and act like big shots in the college football milieu, in that space. But once it starts getting into the legal system, it changes things because none of that stuff matters. A lot of those people don't even care about college football. So they're just looking at it like any other employee rights lawsuit or court hearing. Like all your flexing in college, it doesn't matter when it gets to those courts. That's what's going on now. And if you're paying attention, I don't know how many people are paying attention to this, but there might be these lawsuits where there's retroactive billions of dollars that got to be paid out to the players when they realize they should have been getting paid or whatever. Once it reaches the federal court level, all those college football power players don't have power anymore. You don't have power over that. You don't have power over that. And so that's where this is going, into that major federal court system. It wouldn't surprise me if they unionized. I told Mike Goolsby this the other day. 14 years ago when I was living across from Northwestern's football stadium, I woke up one day and there was news cameras all over by the stadium and they were interviewing people. I look out the window. It was summer, no reason for it. And I look out the window and I see a whole bunch of WGN and whatever, and they're interviewing people outside of the stadium. So me being nosy, I just decided to go for a walk and walk by and kind of see what's going on. The Northwestern guys were trying to form a player union. That was 12 to 14 years ago. The Northwestern guys were the first guys, the smart ones apparently, right, at Northwestern. And they were saying, why are we getting our heads cracked in and we're getting no guaranteed money? This is BS. That was like a dozen years ago, 12 or 13 years ago. And everybody was like, well, that's a wild concept, maybe down the road, blah, 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 blah. Here we are. I'll never forget that. And I thought, man, is that the future? And where does Notre Dame fit in that? And boom, now here we are. John was in his prime when he lived in Evanston. You ain't wrong. You ain't wrong, man. 24, 25 years old, single, ready to mingle, nothing to worry about but myself. And I had the whole city of Chicago as my playground. You ain't lying. Jay Carr, you ain't lying, man. I used to have, the Ohio podcast, you ain't wrong. He says, WG, by the way, go to the College Huddle. Eric's brainchild here. Really good stuff. I'm getting to know a lot of these guys in this network. We're getting their YouTube channels cranked up, man. It's a beautiful thing. Go over there. Not now. Do it when you're done. WGN in his front yard 1 week, Big Nut in the other. I'm telling you, man, I did not appreciate Big Nut tailgating in my yard. I did not sign off on that to wake up on a Saturday morning in Big Ten land. And I hear all this racket and I look out my window and it's Big Nut Nobody wants to wake up in the morning with a big nut out their door. I can tell you that right now. Angela, Johnny at a prime? Yeah, that's a good question. Since she's known me even before the Evanston time, that's a fair point to suggest maybe I never had a prime at all. But I'm telling you, single, ready to mingle, mid-20s, living in Chicago, nothing to worry about but making it home at night. I mean, that's a dangerous recipe for me. Thank God for the red line. That's what I'm going to say. There, thank God for the red line. All I had to do is just make it on the train and know which way I needed to go, and I was set. Like, I didn't have to drive. I could do whatever I wanted to do. And as long as I dragged my carcass back to that train, it would drop me off right down the street from where I lived at whatever time it was. Oh, my God. All right, 615. I'm going to come to you in a minute here. Seriously, I was hungover from a long Friday night, not in the mood to wake up to the buck nut. I just wasn't having it, man. That is not it. Evanston, class of 85. Interesting city. You got Northwestern money, kind of an uppity feel around a lot of it. Then there's certain parts of it that aren't. It's an interesting area. Beautiful, right by the lake. Right by the lake. Really, really cool area. All right, I got to do a couple of these chats here. We got a $10 holler from the V1 Rotate. Thank you. 2024 with list is don't waste a national championship caliber defense. Have a real QB and receiver. The people have to play us honest so our backs can eat. Golden to stop wearing those nerves. He's going to run out top 5, top 10 defenses. Al Golden can do whatever you want. Do whatever you want. Thank you for the $10 holler. Yeah, and you bring up a good point, V1. There has been a lot of really good Notre Dame defenses that I don't feel like have got their due. You know, where they play their hearts out all year, but the offense doesn't carry the weight and it weighs everything down. I think Notre Dame's defenses over the years, they're apart, it wouldn't be like that. I don't know why I just flashed off the screen. I got something. My internet's not been as good lately. I pay extra for fast Wi-Fi for streaming. It's starting to bug me up more than a handful of times a week that thing's on the fritz, and I don't appreciate it. I don't know what the deal is. Yeah, so those defenses deserve better results a lot of these years with Notre Dame. And so that's frustrating. I just saw 2 cats. We're in the Matrix. If you saw 2 cats in this room, you'd see me turning purple. Seriously, if there was 2 cats in here, you'd see me turning colors and not able to breathe. So if you want to watch that live, next time I have a hot take you disagree with, throw a couple loose cats in the basement. That'll take care of John real quick. Blyberg says it's a town of Karens. Oh, you ain't wrong about that. Oh, you're not wrong about that. There's a lot of pretentious money in Evanston for sure. That's for sure. There's a lot of old money in Evanston, all that lakefront property. Ooh, I did not fit in. Let's just make that crystal clear. I did not fit in. I just didn't. I couldn't fit in, even with the ladies, whatever. Maybe they knew I didn't come from a billionaire family. I did not fit in Evanston. I'm openly saying that. And a part of it may be 615. I'm coming to you. Some of it may be I'm a Notre Dame guy. So I moved there and I'm like, I don't care that I live right outside and I see Fitz in his office every morning. I do give him credit for that early in the morning. 5 a.m., 5:30, I'd wake up or whatever and do my workout before going to work. His light was on. I give Fitz credit. He was in there. I mean, I don't know if he was arranging the next naked jumping jack a warm-up session or not, but he was in there every morning. That little light was on before the sun came up. I got to give him credit. Yeah, it was that chain you were wearing. I don't think that'd fly in Evanston. I just didn't fit in, man. And it's just the way it is. I just never felt like I belonged. I felt like an imposter. Does that make sense? Living in Evanston and seeing the comings and goings and all that, I felt like an imposter living there. John was the pool boy of Evanston. Karen's there, loved him. Oh man, you're not kidding. I was in grad school and had like weird schedules, and the people I know would have like, it would be like a surgeon that lives in Evanston, and they'd pay me like an outrageous amount to like mow their lawn while they're doing surgery or something and like fix stuff at their house. You're not wrong. There was a little bit of that going on, and they all had money. So they would pay me like an outrageous amount to do what I thought were simple tasks, like mow and weed eat the yard or something. And they'd be like, here's $200 12 years ago. That was a good deal for me, right? But there was no get your minds out of the gutter. There was no like pool boy here, a massage the lady of the house type stuff going on. It was just more manual labor. Oh my God. I did mow their lawn. That's not a euphemism either. V1 Rotate, thanks for the $10 holler. Crawfish Kelly. Oh man. Jeez. When are we getting to this story that you dated a girl who was on The Bachelor? How do you know about that? How do you guys know about that? She's going on The Bachelor again, I heard, by the way. She's going on The Bachelor again. She didn't make it very far the first time. I don't feel like she got a lot of time to let her personality out. Or maybe it's saying she doesn't have one to let out. I'll leave that up to you. But yeah, she's going to be on it again. And like, it's a reason to kind of watch. I still don't care, but like, I'll watch until she gets kicked off, just see how she acts, I guess. Bartender in Chicago, the last I checked. So I don't know. All that's missing for the lawn mowing story is the Manscaped ad. Does anyone remember? Let's do a tep, Johnny Speedo. No one wants to see that. No one wants to see me in one of those Borat man Speedos. Very nice. How much? No one wants to see them. My wife. A great success. You know what I want for Notre Dame's offense against real defenses this year? I want to come on the show, post-game show, and go, you know what we have there? Great success. Oh man. I'm telling you, Speedo for the tailgate. Yeah, I want people to come to the tailgate, not run away with a barf bag. All right? I don't want that. John helped keep 50% of the marriages together. The ladies of Evanston want to see that. I can assure you they do not. I can assure you that. Man, there's a lot of old money up there, though. God, it's just, it blows you away. There's a lot of old money there. Oh, man, we're in Borat territory. Very nice. My wife. This is my wife's. Oh, man, tube socks up to your knees. Yeah, you know me, keeping it stylish all the time. I'm telling you, that red line saved my life. I just had this. Somebody put as long as you don't pass out. Oh, I know multiple people who have passed out on that red line, which is the main artery north-south that runs 24 hours a day. It gets everything. I mean, everything. Can we talk football? Why don't I talk about whatever I want on my show? How about we do that, crying? I talk about football 20-something hours a week live. Can I have 5 minutes to have fun and goof off on my own show? It's the middle of the summer. I do 20 hours of streaming. Give me a break. Give me a break. Unbelievable. I've never told a frat story in my life. I wasn't in a frat. I don't know what you're talking about. Unbelievable. The peer pressure here. Sorry. I like having a fun time. Sometimes, geez. All we're going to do, crying, it ain't going to get any better for you when I start nailing your dumb take you had to start this show. If you want me to turn it there, I'm happy to do it. Because that's on my list, is going after the silly things you already said. I'll get there. Unbelievable. Anyways, couple of topics today. ND not a top 35 team. You want to go after that guy? Go for it. multiple. I wasn't going to bring it up because I take crap for bringing it up all the time. You guys brought it up. I'll talk about Brian Kelly. Some of this is like, honestly, I might defend Brian Kelly a little bit here on some of this. We'll get to that. There's a little bit of this I'm going to defend Brian Kelly on. And I know that's throwing you off, but I mean it. And I'll explain. Oh, by the way, this isn't going to make crying happy. I'm still open to doing a segment sometime where you guys just throw me different foods and I react. We're not doing it now, but sometime this summer, I want to do a stream where people just type in different foods and then I rant about how I'm not eating them and give a weird reason why. Crying belly. I don't understand what's wrong with Brian Kelly's comments. He said the exact same thing as Freeman. Yeah. The difference is Kelly also told you he was leaving Notre Dame to go to somewhere with unlimited football resources that was willing to give him 100% of it to do what it takes to win. That's the difference. At Notre Dame, you know there are limitations and restrictions to what you could do. Brian Kelly's reason for going to LSU is to have full football resources to get everything he wants. And football is the priority. And now he's backtracking off that, saying they don't have the resources. So I don't know, man, but we'll get there. I'm going to defend Kelly on a little bit of this. I genuinely am, and I'll explain what part. In the top 30 guy, out of his mind. And Andrew Gilmore even said that guy that had Notre Dame, it wasn't even that they weren't in the top 30. It was the top 615. I'm coming to you. You're coming right up in 30 seconds. Andrew Gilmore said, he's seen that guy before. Say Notre Dame should be like a 10-win team in 24. So how we went from that to Notre Dame's not even in the top 30. And then it's not even the top 30. He then said, here's my next 5 in, and Notre Dame wasn't even in that. So that guy has Notre Dame as the 36th best team at best. 36th best team at best. Your opinion is your opinion, but there are no metrics you could find that have Notre Dame as the 35th best team. Like, if you want to say they're not top 10, totally get it. If you want to list all these worries and say, I don't think I could put them in the top 10 because I have these worries, I totally have no issue with that. But 35, 36, get out of here. I honestly thought, Ohio podcast, you nailed it. Right when I said it, it popped up. This crossed my mind, you guys. Eric, he straight up forgot and then felt dumb, so he doubled down and then made another stupid mistake that's obvious. That was my number one thought. It was my number one thought. And I could see how it could happen. Because these national guys, this makes perfect sense. It was my first thought. These national guys, I don't think Notre Dame's on their radar unless it gets forced. So I bet you this guy's working in all these conferences, breaking down what conference, who's going to be good in the conferences, and the SEC changed, and the Big Ten changed, and no. My initial reaction was, he's so wrapped up in the national stuff and all the conferences that he forgot about Notre Dame. And then he had a tough decision to make. Do you get roasted for admitting you forgot about Notre Dame altogether? Once he saw we were all hammering him, do you say, what kind of look is that you forgot Notre Dame on a list or whatever? And the other thing is, I got to find a reason to justify this, making the calculation that it would be more embarrassing to admit you forgot Notre Dame than to have them ranked that low and then try and back end justify it. That honestly crossed my mind. Or blind Notre Dame hatred. Seriously, it could be blind Notre Dame hatred. I'm not sure. There's no metrics. Your opinion's your opinion, but there's no metrics to back up Notre Dame being that low. So that guy's outrageous. And it's just Josh Pate nailed him. He said he was going to sue him. He filed a lawsuit against the guy for what he did to Notre Dame. Like, I just, it comes off pretty personal. If you didn't just genuinely forget, it comes off pretty personal. And here's the other thing. Maybe he was Reiki party schools. That's a good one. The other, yeah, I think he was looking at the conferences and forgot all about him. I do. I really do think that might be it. Like, I don't know. I just, it was a weird look. When you got people, there were comments saying, I hate Notre Dame with a passion, and you're dead wrong for this, buddy. When you could get people that hate Notre Dame to join in and be like, yeah, this is a bad list, you know you messed up. You know you messed up. At the same time, I'm not going to act like I know who this guy is. I had no idea who that guy is, but he's got like 50,000 subscribers on Twitter. So that's not like a new guy or a nobody. Oh, yeah, Virginia Tech over Notre Dame. Iowa's raging offense ahead of Notre Dame. Like, if you want to be like Iowa with a great defense and no offense, you can say that about Notre Dame, and our no offense is way better than their no offense. At least we scored 39.5 against all the dog teams we played. They couldn't even do that. So whatever, man. Isn't this the bald LSU guy? No, are you thinking of Moscano? Because he's in a different level. That Moscano guy who does one of their YouTube shows. If that's who I'm thinking you're thinking of, I don't know. But what's the angle here? You're in Louisiana and you like LSU, so you like Kelly, so you're going to rank Notre Dame 50th? Is that what we're doing this summer? Like, is that the angle you guys are thinking? Is he's an LSU guy? And then I don't understand it. I don't understand it. Here's our resident LSU guy. 615's coming up. Nobody forgot about ND. Stop it, John. Nobody's hating on ND. When every single person doing this has Notre Dame ranked between every professional writer that I've seen has Notre Dame between 5 and 15. This guy comes in here with 36 or lower. Come on. Like, it's just, that's the thing, man. It's an outlier by so much. It makes you wonder. All of them I've seen have Notre Dame 5 on the high end, 15 on the low end, a lot of them right in the middle. This guy has Notre Dame as the 50th best team in America. It's a red flag, man. It's a red flag. Oh, my main man Martinez with the $5. College football was bored at ND. Man, I love your passion so much. Look at this. This is our resident LSU guy. LSU, Brian Kelly, blah, blah, blah. Excuses. Yeah, I agree with you. Excuses are what Brian Kelly's making already. You're right. I totally agree with your statement. Blah, blah, blah is what I hear whenever Brian Kelly speaks, his political speech of the day that the speechwriter writes to make him frame things in a political way. Blah, blah, blah is what I hear when he talks, and excuses are what you're already getting at LSU. Resist. Stop pump faking. As a friend of someone who really appreciates you being here, as an LSU fan who watches my show, I'm giving you genuine advice with this. Don't let him water it down. Don't let him slowly lower the bar of expectations and get your sights lowered. And he likes to do it over time. And there's these little things that get in your brain as of the fan base, and it starts lowering your expectations. And that's what happened earlier this week. That's exactly what happened earlier this week. Putting an excuse out in the ether to lower the heat. That's exactly what he did. Exactly what he did. Yeah, the problem with other people in the Notre Dame niche that are going after Kelly now is they all didn't say anything in 2016 when he was ruining the program. And then they all blocked me when I was saying, why are you guys carrying his water and not calling him out? So I'm glad all the Notre Dame people are on my side now. They were all about 5 or 6 years too late. That's the problem. We will fire him before he lowers the bar. I'm genuinely saying to you that I think that's how he operates. It's these little tiny things that get in your brain that he puts in the ether wherever he's at. And the totality of it is it just kind of finds a way to numb down the expectations a little bit. And we saw that here year over year over year. He got you where he got you where you were just convinced you could never recruit a good guy. And it just couldn't happen in Notre Dame. Like, so pump faking, don't ever fall for it, man. Don't ever fall for it. What are you talking about? That's not an excuse, John. Paying for players is very risky. I'm not paying $1.5 million for a 1-year rental. You were the one paying for it? I didn't know you had that kind of dough. Like, I'm half joking. I'm half being serious. You're paying for it? They made pump faking. They went to your YouTube and sent you a bill for $1.5 million? That's what they did? You paid for it? Since when do you care if a rich family that went to LSU ponies up money or not? It has nothing to do with you. Nobody's making you pay for anything. That's one big problem I have with this whole debate. You're not paying for it. What do you care? If some see, pump faking. Here we go, pump faking. The expectations are being lowered. Hang in there, 615. But now this is juicy. Hang in there. Like, you're already starting to sound like he's dumbing it down. I'm not paying 1.5. You're not paying for anything. I find it hard to believe you care if some rich donor family from LSU ponies up 1.5 million to get a good player. I don't think you would care. In fact, I think you would approve of that. Okay? Oh, man. Expectations is not being lowered. He's telling you can't get good players. When he was asked about D-line recruiting, he didn't say we're on the grind and we're going to do it. He said, we just can't do it that way. We can't do it that way. And then here's the other thing with that. And then 615, I promise I'm going to you. Last thing on this. Then I'll go back to it later with some more. Here's the thing that rubs me the wrong way about the LSU fan response to this news. Okay. Here's what I have no patience for. Once Kelly made his statement and it kind of blew up and got traction, a lot of the LSU people were in the comments saying, I like this because, Kelly's not willing to spend recklessly and all that. And I like that he wants to do it with our guys in-house and everything. And I like that he's not going to play that game and we're going to do it our way and get our own guys. And we don't need to do, and I like that he has the integrity to do it that way and not fall for the pay for play or whatever. That's so disingenuous and you all know it. It's so disingenuous and you all know it for a couple reasons. Number one is you only get credit for that high road if you're not in the mix for those guys at all. If you're against doing that and paying guys, you shouldn't have been in the race for any of those guys at all, even throwing your whatever. Because the reality is, had you landed a couple good D linemen from the portal with NIL, all the LSU people would be in the comments saying, I love that they're willing to go for it and they're willing to win and they're willing to do whatever it takes to put the best team on the field this year. And that's what this LSU football is all about, is going for it now, getting the best possible team on the field for next year. And spare no expense, we're getting the best guys. That shows dedication to winning and getting this thing where it needs to go. And I love that my school is doing that. That would have been the response. Not one of you people, not one of you LSU people, if you got a guy by paying a lot of money, not one of you clowns would get in the chat and go, I'm against this. This is against my morals to pay this much money to get a good defensive player. This rubs me the wrong way. Kelly's doing this. What about the younger guys in the program that just dropped in the depth chart because you went and got this defensive lineman? None of you would have said that. So you're playing both ways to make see, these are the games. I'm telling you, Kelly plays with you. I've been down this road. I'm warning you. That's it. That's it. You all would have loved it. You all would have loved it. You would have said, oh, I love this. You're paying to get the best team, and that's what this place is about, doing everything we can. So you're playing it both ways. Once you get nobody and Kelly says that, now you're leaning into that. Whatever. I like you. Stop pump faking. You're here every single day. I'm looking out for you when I say this is not a troll. Never let that bar lower for what you expect from LSU. Don't let this guy ever do it. Ever do it. Don't let him do it to you. Stay strong. See through the rhetoric. When Kelly talks, it is a politician. Literally, he was a politician before coaching. Okay? Don't fall for it. See through it. The way you do when a politician speaks and you know it's all BS. See through it. Yeah, good point, Ohio. We've been burned by so many transfers before. Yeah, I know. Joe Burrow killed you guys, man. That's unfortunate that he transferred there. Can't do that again. Too dangerous. You want it both ways. None of you would have complained if you landed those guys. You wouldn't have cared where the money came from. You would say, this shows they're invested in winning. And you would have loved it. You would have loved it. It astounds me how all these people act like they care where the money's coming from. You ain't paying it. You ain't paying it. I'm not paying 1.5 for one of these guys. Yeah, exactly. You're not paying nothing. What do you care where the money comes from? Some rich Louisiana family. 615, let's make it come alive. Let's see if the phone lines are working today. What's going on, 615?
Oh, nothing. How are you?
I'm doing very well, my friend. It's a wild Friday here. You never know what direction we're going to go in. Thanks for giving me a call. What's on your mind?
Oh, yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. I didn't have Borat impression and talking about your old days of hunting sugar mamas on my Always Irish bingo card this morning. That threw me for a loop.
Hey, you never know what you're going to get. You never know what you're going to get. I just walked around Evanston going, very nice, how much? And it just worked out for me. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, I was like, I'm not gonna talk about Brian Kelly at all because we do that too much allegedly. But
beautiful.
Here it comes. Here we are talking about it, and I mean, you hit the nail on the head again. I mean, they would be praising it if they spent that money, but now they're saying, "Oh yeah, we don't want to make that investment." When did LSU never not made that investment ever?
Yeah.
I mean, they have air conditioning units. LSU is all flash, no substance.
You know what? Let me ask this. Let me ask this. Maybe Pump Fakin knows more. I know that he's a legitimate LSU fan. Maybe he knows the answer to this behind the scenes. What's LSU's money like from the donors? Like, do they have the same pool of billionaire families Notre Dame has that funds everything and builds all the buildings or whatever and does all the stuff other than football that makes me mad? Like, I wonder, were they unwilling to pay it or couldn't come up with it or a blend of both? Or like, I don't know. But that being said, man, some people are twisting what Kelly said a little bit. Like some of the media is twisting it to sound worse, to make the quote worse than it was with what he was saying. And that I think is kind of crappy, but it's not my problem anymore. So I don't care. But there are some people making the quote sound like he's saying, I don't want any LSU guy to make any money, is some of the way some other writers are framing his quotes. And I do think that's wrong. But it isn't my problem. So let Brian Kelly talk himself into another corner. I don't care.
I think it's sour grapes, to be honest. I feel like if he would have gotten those guys, he would have been like, hey, look,
obviously
we have the resources to get these guys.
Yeah.
And then now, and I mean, I really didn't think that he would use NIL as his little, because Brian Kelly always has something that is the reason why he can't do something. That's my problem with him, is like at Notre Dame, it was the standards. Standards are too high. We can't get those players. Yeah. If we get a 4-star, great, but we can't get 5-star players. And Marcus Freeman has taken that narrative and crushed it. Now it's wild to me that he's using LSU. I mean, have you ever seen those facilities? He's saying, no, we're not going to pay those guys because we're all about substance and building a program. And I would like to see one defensive lineman that Brian Kelly has legitimately developed, went from somebody who was, kind of a fringe starter to actually very good without just having the talent. Because Brian Kelly does not develop. He doesn't spend the time. He doesn't want to recruit, and he doesn't develop. I mean, I've seen it all before.
Now, this says, Pump Faking just wrote, it's about the talent. What are you guys talking about? If he's worth the money, yes, we buy him. If that's the position, Kelly royally screwed this up by what he said. That is not what he said. If that's really the position, Kelly messed this up more than I originally thought by what he said. Because all he had to say is there isn't a guy that fits our needs that we were looking for, so we didn't even go there. But that's not what he said. If he's worth money, buy him, and Kelly didn't think it was worth it, your answer would be different than the one Kelly gave. He didn't give that answer. He gave, we weren't willing to bid up basically enough to get these guys. That's different than saying we looked at the guys and we decided we like what we have in-house better, we're fine. That would have been the answer. He did not say that. Mm-hmm. He did not say that. So
well, he's not genuine. That's his problem, is that you never know if he's telling the truth. Because, I mean, he does have that background as a politician, but, I mean, that's not a genuine thing. You can tell it on his face. Maybe it's just because, I've seen it for so long being a Notre Dame fan, but that wasn't a genuine answer. Of course he would have paid those people. They didn't want to come to LSU. That's the thing.
He's a politician.
He wasn't willing to
He's a
recruit them hard enough.
He's a politician. He's
100%.
always been a politician. And being in Notre Dame helps you polish those skills because everything's so neat. Yeah. Everything's so neat and tidy and put together. It really helps you own those skills. And here's the thing though, man. LSU is in such a talent-rich part of the country. Their recruiting shit, it's always going to be a certain level of really good because there's just so much local great talent down there. And a lot of those guys are born and they just love LSU and they're going to go to LSU. Wouldn't matter if Weekend at Bernie's is the coach. A lot of those guys are still going to LSU no matter what. So they're going to be fine. They're going to get their talent. Let's see what Kelly does with it.
It'll be about weeks. I don't know their schedule, but they'll get their first loss. It'll be, hey, it's hard to win. We didn't have the defensive line talent. And then some player will get blamed. And then if LSU has a crossroads right there, LSU fans can either say, you know what, he's right. It is hard to win. We play in the SEC. It's hard to win. We don't have the talent in defensive line. Let's get them next year. Or they can man up like they did with Coach O because they've done it before and said, no, this is not the standard at LSU. You either win or get out. We'll see if Brian Kelly can do that tiptoe he does through making people really angry, but then bringing them back.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's really frustrating. Here's the other thing, and then I want to move on from Kelly for a minute if we can. The final thing on that is, I just don't, there's always a reason, always an excuse. I just call somebody out sometimes. I'm just seeing a lot of LSU stuff that reminds me of how it went at Notre Dame and just a lot of excuses and framing things in the way that makes you feel better in your little LSU heart. And I hate seeing it, you guys. Resist it. Don't let them dumb down the expectations.
Oh, yeah, because when he does that, I mean, that's the death of a really good program right there. Because, I mean, if he dumps down the expectations and can manage to stay there for about 5 to 6 years, you'll probably be seeing a lot of 9-3s, 8-4s. Could have had them almost. But it's we'll get there next year. And then, 2016 should have been the end of Brian Kelly. That should have been his time. He's done at Notre Dame. I don't know how he survived it, but he did. Because the roster was a mess, and it's already kind of moving that way towards LSU. I mean, look at the defensive line. I mean, that's a mess. Who's to say soon it won't be the quarterback position like it was at Notre Dame? They're definitely going to get receivers. It's LSU, so I don't think that'll be a problem. But I'd be real keen to watch some position groups that are really vital to the success of an SEC team and then see how they are maybe 3 to 5 years under the Brian Kelly era.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. And here's the other thing. And then I really do want to move on from him because it's annoying. The other thing is, this dude he's just easy to not like. Have you noticed that he's just easy to not like? And I thought maybe it was just a Notre Dame thing, but he's taken heat everywhere else too. Like he's just an easy guy to not like for some reason. Rubs people the wrong way. It's not my problem now. And I got news for all the Notre Dame people in here. I'm rooting for USC week 1. That ain't even that. I don't even hesitate for 1 second. I'm rooting for USC to beat LSU week 1. 100%. I'm rooting for USC. The reason why is I want the LSU people miserable right out of the gate week 1, riding Kelly. That would make my heart feel good. And then number 2 is go ahead and falsely pump up USC, and it'll make us look better when we beat them later in the year. So for those reasons, I will be a Tommy Trojan for that day, USC all the way. And it's not even a tough choice. There's not even a half-second hesitation for me to go, am I sure I would lean that way? I'm 100% sure. Rooting for USC week 1.
As soon as he gave that interview where he said, this is why you come to LSU to play these kind of games.
He did say that. Yeah. It's just the guy's unbelievable. Why you go to LSU is to play USC when you were just at Notre Dame. This guy is insane. He's crazy.
Amen. That's and also that top 30 nonsense got me fired up too. I knew it would have you fired up. And I honestly think that guy's just a hater. Because, either he's a liar for doubling down, being like, hey, I messed up, and then, like, not saying anything and just, like, doubling down. He's a liar, which is bad already. Or just a hater, because there's no lukewarm people on Notre Dame out there. There's just not.
Yeah.
If you love them or you absolutely hate them.
Yeah.
And I think the years that Notre Dame legitimately is good, people always go out of their way to discredit them. Always.
Yeah, it's I don't know, man. You know, Brian Kelly's a lightning rod, and so is Notre Dame. It's just anything that happens with either one of them gets blown up so much and twisted around and magnified. And I was wondering if that would follow Kelly to LSU, and it kind of did. So I don't know, man. It's really interesting. And then as for Notre Dame, you got to have a good year, man. I'm like everybody, you got to go like 11-1 to make people happy. That's just where we're at this summer, dude. That's where we're at this summer. You got to go. People are expecting about 11-1, and I need Notre Dame to pull it off.
There's no reason why they can't. There really isn't. I don't think. A&M's going to be a big test, but if Riley Leonard's healthy, he can play in those games. It's definitely going to be the biggest crowd he's ever played in front of. But I just don't see A&M having the firepower on offense to do anything to Notre Dame defense. And then Florida State's at home. I'm looking for 12-0, to be honest. I won't be heavily disappointed with 11-1, but if I don't see it 12-0, I'm gonna be a little upset because this is the year for it.
Yeah,
and we need that 12-0 to get that home playoff game.
Yeah, man, it's really interesting. Think of the different paths here. If you make the playoff and you get to host that first game at home, what an advantage compared to being one of the lower seeds and having to go to a top 12 team and go to their place. Like in my mind, I look at those scenarios so differently. Like you got to end up in the top half of those seeds that gets to host that first game to set this all up. And what would that be? 11-1? I think 11-1 does that, right? I think 11-1 Notre Dame gets to host a playoff game. If they crept in at 10-2, then you're on the road somewhere tough. That's a different story altogether.
Yeah, we'll have to see definitely how they decide to slot things because there's still that human picking of the teams with the committee. So I think that we'll just have to see where they fit in. But there's really I don't know if it'll be this year, but what's crazy is that there's a future in this playoff format where there's a number 1 ranked undefeated Notre Dame that plays a first round playoff game, which blows my mind.
Yeah, it's man. So I don't know. You gotta have a big year. It's year 3, new playoff, a history of year 3 coaches in Notre Dame, all that. And the other thing is, you should have a pretty good team. You have a really good coaching staff. You have a blend of veteran players and young athletic guys to mix in there. The Vegas line I've seen most is 10.5 for the over under on the win total. And I think that's just about perfect. I would have it right at 10.5. If you made me the bookmaker, I'd say 10.5. That's right where I would put it. You got to have a big year. And people are done with the excuses. They're done hearing about a new coach who doesn't know you should have 11 guys out there instead of 10. Like, nobody wants to hear it anymore. It's time to go out there and win big games.
Well, it's refreshing, too, because we don't ever hear an excuse from Marcus Freeman, ever. It's always, hey, that's on me.
Yep.
That's my fault.
Yeah.
We did this wrong. And after years of, I won't even say his name, going through the dark ones era, I'll say that, and hearing an excuse. I'm a guy who's not an excuse kind of person. I don't like it. And then when I hear a coach go up and be like, hey, this is my fault. We can't have 10 people on the field. That's awful.
Yeah.
That was very refreshing to hear. Because, if that was under the last regime, if 10 players on the field lost the game, you know for a fact somebody else would have been crucified for that.
Do you want to know what else?
Like, oh, yeah, that's the position coach's thing.
That's exactly what I was going to say, because when I talked to Goolsby about this on the Patreon, and I'll say, Mike, who's responsible for that error? He would say, that is so far below the head coach's purview. In that moment, in that game, Freeman is not the one in charge of that. Like, that's such a low-level menial task to make sure you have the grouping out there with the amount of guys. That's not even on Freeman's radar. So it was definitely somebody else's down-to-down job, but it doesn't matter. You're the head coach, and you get the credit when good things happen, and you get the blame when bad things happen. The only thing he could have done is go, that's on me, and I messed up. It's the only answer. It's the only answer.
The only answer. I'll tell you what, I just got a bunch of notifications. I'm 26. I still play video games, and a screenshot just released of the new college football video game, and it's of Notre Dame, and they look damn good. Are we going to see a John Dynasty series? I don't know if you're a heavy gamer, but come on now.
Dude, the last time I played
put it on the page.
The last time I played that game, it was what was it? 05 or whatever. It was a Vince Young year. And I would just pick Texas and roll out with Vince Young and either throw it, and if nobody was open, I'd just run it for 12 yards and get out of bounds every play. That's literally all I did when I played that game. I would roll out with Vince Young and go do whatever I wanted. That was it. That was my only thing.
The first one that I played was 2006, and I fell in love with Brady Quinn. And I remember when I was pretty young, and I think they lost the game in like real life. And I just remember one of my youngest memories just crying and be like, "No, Brady's supposed to win us this game," because he was so good on the video game, and I was like, "This is awful."
Yeah,
but yeah, I think that was you would be the sugar papa if you streamed you a series going there.
Oh, give me a break, dude. I don't have the patience for video games, man. I'm like slow in my brain with that stuff. There's like 3-year-olds that can work the joysticks and all that stuff better than I can. You know what I mean? Like, so it's rough. Hey man, thanks for calling me on a Friday. What do you got on the way out? Anything?
Nothing. Just go Irish. And It's in the fog period where we can just dream.
Yep.
I don't want to see any more negativity from Notre Dame fans. It's May.
Oh.
Let's think about what if they go 12-0 and win it all.
Oh, you're setting Notre Dame. Now you're setting up Notre Dame heartbreak again. Look at you with our eye on the prize, only to be let down again. Hey, it's summer, man.
I'm all about. Yeah, you got to dream in the summer. Everybody go down to the beach, get you a pina colada.
Yeah.
Pick your feet up and just just watch Rudy. Listen to the Rudy soundtrack and just think, man, 12-0, undefeated. Let's go win the national championship. Because this is the time to be happy.
There you go.
Come November, if there's 2 losses on our schedule, we're going to be pissed off. And we can't do that all year.
You know what, though? I'm going to tell you this, though. That may actually change. You could have Notre Dame with 2 losses in November, and they're still in the playoff conversation, and that will retain some interest. It will be muted because people would be frustrated with the 2 losses, but there will still be that hope that you could sneak in there and then turn it on. So I do think that's the one thing the playoff does give Notre Dame people. It's no longer, if you lose one game, the season's over, basically. So you're going to have more hope for longer, only to maybe be let down later. I don't know, but hope. Give me some hope.
That's what we need. We need hope. That is, I've been trying. I've been trying to work on a Marcus Freeman poster. Like the old Obama campaign ads that say hope. So I've been trying to get one of the Marcus Freeman to make this year. It's just like a hope banner that we can have hope for the future. Because that's the negativity with this. Because I consume a lot of Notre Dame content, and it's never from the content creators. Everybody's really good. I think Notre Dame has great content out there, like great passionate fans. There's always the comment sections. It's always this. It's always this.
Yeah.
It's all, I don't want Riley Leonard. I want Steve Angeli. Riley Leonard's going to get hurt. We don't know this. And then it's like, oh, no, CJ Carr's the better one. Oh, our defense better be good. And it's just like, come on, man. It's May. Let's just enjoy what we have here. While the sport is what it is. Because, who's to say with all this NIL, everything, all these conference changes and all that, who's to say what the sport will look like in the next 5 years?
Yeah, it's going to be, man, I don't know. This is going to be a wild ride, man. I'm ready for the new playoff thing. Notre Dame's got to be a part of it. Go 11-1. That's my story for this summer. That's what I need it to be, man. Period.
There we go.
Hey, man.
Get out of here.
Have
God
a good
bless.
weekend.
Go Irish.
Oh, thank you. Give me a call again, man.
Too.
Thanks for joining. Have a good weekend. See you.
You too.
Oh, man. This is hilarious. Look at this. We got a Texas A&M guy in here. Keith, is that your team? Is that the deal? Keith, do you just not like Notre Dame, or are you pro Texas A&M? Keith fusing, as you're fusing these hot takes together. Ooh, see what I did there? Freeman has got 1 5-star that's hardly crushing Kelly's narrative. This is why we say you give Freeman a free pass, John. Here's something that another angle I've struggled with. 419, you're coming up. Here's something else I've struggled with. I've seen some of the LSU YouTubers. By the way, they do a pretty good job. There's a strong contingent of LSU content people that do YouTube stuff like I do for post games and stuff. They all do a pretty good job. Take it seriously, like full-time work. Even the ones I fight with and we go back and forth with. Blake, I go back and forth with Ruffino all the time, and he don't like me and I don't like him, and it's beautiful. He does a good job. Like, he's on there every day, cutting it up, hot takes. I love the work. He does a good job. But the problem that I have is they keep saying, oh, Freeman's not out recruiting Kelly, and look at the talent, and Denbrock's going there, but Denbrock's not going to have Denbrock's going to go to Notre Dame, but he's not bringing LSU's talent in there, and I don't understand this or whatever. Yeah, that's the idea. The LSU people act like they're breaking news, that it's easier to recruit to LSU than Notre Dame. We know that. That's why Kelly's down there. He can put in the same amount of effort he did in Notre Dame and get better recruiting results because of LSU. That's obvious. That's obvious. Like, that's expected. I expect whoever is at LSU to have easier access to a bigger pool of high talent. And it doesn't matter if you can read and write, and you get in, and then we go win games. I expect it to be easier at LSU. That's why Kelly went. More golf, less recruiting, but get more good guys. That was the equation. Duh. Blake's sitting there on his show going, Denbrock can go over to Notre Dame all he wants, but he's not going to have all that talent. Yeah, obviously. Duh. Did you ever consider that might not be the only reason somebody would maybe want to be back in Notre Dame? Like, I can't get people to understand that. They were like, oh, he's not going to have the same offensive talent. This makes no sense. The guy loves Notre Dame. Duh. That's the whole reason Kelly did this, was to put less in recruiting and get more. Unbelievable. Bees are 12 washing beard. Oh my God, that's funny. That's funny. And listen, here's the other thing though. 419's coming up. Brian Kelly did a lot of good for Notre Dame. Brian Kelly did a lot of good for Notre Dame. I will never say that he didn't. He inherited a nightmare and built it up pretty good. And like, I credit Brian Kelly for a lot of things. I do. Oh no, he's getting mad. Are you gonna defend LSU's academic prowess? Is that what you're gonna do? What's your point? Whose fault is it? We don't care. If you don't care, why do your content people bring it up every day? If you don't care, Blake talks about Notre Dame every single week. So you're lying that you don't care because your own content creators talk about Notre Dame and make this comparison every week. So somebody cares because they do it all the time. And now you're saying college kids don't know how to read and write? No, Notre Dame's do. A lot of others don't. That's what I'm telling you. Yes, that is what I'm telling you. That's exactly what I'm telling you. No, not vague college kids. Notre Dame kids know how to read and write. It's all the other ones. It's a lot of it's a lot of the other ones, especially the powerhouses. And you don't even have to go to class, and it's all online, and you have a girl does all the tests, and you never have to show up to class. I don't watch them, John. What are you talking about? Every day I get sent another YouTube video of an LSU person making a Notre Dame LSU comparison, ripping Notre Dame. What do you mean? Did I just take a gratuitous shot at SEC academics? Why, yes, I did. So what? Oh, man. Oh, Kent. That's very interesting, but I slightly disagree. Very interesting. Coming up, 419. That's not why the man Brian Kelly left. He left because Notre Dame reached its ceiling. No more than 10, 11 games would be won and not enough to hang with the elite. He was over it. Kent, you're right. But that was his fault. Notre Dame reached its ceiling under Brian Kelly, not its ceiling as an institution. I agree with part of this. It totally reached its ceiling. It was a relationship where there was no more passion. There was no more buzz. There was no nothing. We were just going through the motions, doing the same things. Nothing was changing. There was no spark, whatever. Notre Dame definitely reached the ceiling under him. Under him. There's a lot more meat left on the Notre Dame bone. Got to do certain things he wasn't willing to do to get to it. So I totally agree with you. It capped out, but that was Brian Kelly's fault. That's not a problem of Notre Dame. It was a problem about he was operating at Notre Dame. Those are different things. There's more meat on the Notre Dame bone, but you got to be willing to do extra work. You got to be willing to do a lot of extra work that has no guarantee of ever paying off for you to do this right at Notre Dame. You got to be willing to grind your ass off on the recruiting trail for multiple years, kissing some 17-year-old's ass that you don't even know has the grades to get into Notre Dame. That's the kind of stuff it takes to properly recruit Notre Dame. It takes a lot more. It's hard. It's hard. It's hard. The guy took you to the championship in 3 years and asked for things from the AD, and they said no. Could you believe that? That's a fair question. One is, I really would have preferred that. Talking about going to the championship in year 3, it would have been really nice if he would have been prepping for the championship game instead of interviewing for NFL jobs. That kind of rubs me the wrong way. So that's kind of unfortunate. That I didn't appreciate that, knowing instead of prepping for the title game, he was interviewing for NFL jobs. That kind of tells you a little bit about the guy right away. But the other thing is, yes, historically, I have been frustrated with resources at Notre Dame, or I know they have the money, but where they're spending it is not where I want them to spend it. All of that is true. All of that is true. The issue became, though, a part of the issue is Kelly asked for things from the AD and they said no. They asked things of him and he said no. You get what I'm saying? This is a two-way street. They had certain expectations of him too. And he wasn't willing to play nice. And that doesn't work at Notre Dame. And once that relationship kind of turns a little bit, you have a little stalemate. They wanted things that Kelly, you wasn't willing to do. Kelly wanted things of them, they weren't willing to do. So you ended up with this stalemate towards the end there. Kelly definitely wanted things they said they weren't going to do. They needed things him he wasn't willing to do. That was a two-way street. That was a two-way street. How about put down the golf clubs and fire up the jet and go recruit? Why don't we try that? You shouldn't have to beg your head coach to go speak to an alumni donor group and get a whole bunch of money to pony up to add to the NIL fund. Right? And now you guys got a puppet in Freeman. So congratulations. I would rather take Marcus Freeman's genuine approach, knowing he treats people the right way and he's working his ass off any day over anything Kelly sold you. Here's the other thing too. And then we're going back to the calls. The other thing you need to keep in mind if you're an LSU fan, it's dangerous. What was the high point of Brian Kelly at LSU so far? What was the high point? Year one beating Alabama the same night we beat Clemson. It's in my mind that may be the high point. That might have been it right away, year one. And you know why I say that? Takes a while for Kelly to dumb you down. Takes a while for the Kelly-ness to spread throughout your whole institution and lower the competitive everything. He wasn't there long enough year one to ruin that. That takes time. That takes time to ruin it, like to do that and numb it down like that takes time. Look at Ryan Day. You could argue Ryan Day had some of that. A lot of success right away when he took it over. And after that, the more Ryan Day you get, the more Michigan wins I got over them. Heisman winner, John. I think you're proving my point. I think you're proving my point. You had the number one scoring offense in America and the Heisman winner, and you didn't sniff a playoff. You're proving my point, not yours. You want to talk about having high standards, and this is LSU, and we expect greatness, and every coach we have wins a title. It's just a given and all that. How can you be okay with him wasting that offense? How are you making excuses instead of ripping him? You should be furious saying we had the best offense in America and a Heisman winner. We couldn't even get close to the playoff, and that's unacceptable. Has Kelly already gotten to you? Has Kelly already gotten to you? You should be furious, not celebrating last year. You should be furious. You should be saying we should be title contenders. Anyways, whatever. 419, you're on the line. What's going on?
Oh, my God. Good morning.
What's so funny on a Friday? What are you laughing at?
Look, man. Look. Oh God, I haven't called you in a while, but your rants are so perfect. because I be thinking the same thing.
Well, then maybe you and
I
I are
don't-
both in trouble, buddy, man. I'm sorry for you. Like, I'm what I am, and I'm going to do this no matter what. I don't mean to bring anybody else down to my brain level. It's dangerous.
No, I haven't been the same since we lost to Ohio State last year, because that was straight on the coaching staff.
Yeah.
And they should have apologized to all those kids.
Yep.
For blundering that game.
100%.
Now, oh my God. I listened to the show today. I'm like, it's going all over the place. It's ridiculous. I'm like, either you're an Indy fan or you're not. It's like, I get it that we're all questioning this, questioning that, questioning this, questioning that. But at the end of the day, it's 2024 now. And the administration is finally putting some respect on the football program's name again. Like, I'm 44 years old. So it's just like, look, it's time. It's time to get back to winning. And we're going to get back to winning. But fans, have patience, y'all. Quit questioning everything and criticizing everything. And let me rewind. I give Brian Kelly credit because he brought us back to credibility.
He did a lot. He did a lot of good things. And when he took over, the program is in really, really bad shape. Not even with like on the field. Notre Dame was way behind in just everything. Training table, facilities, like off the field even. There was a lot to build. Brian Kelly did a really good job doing that. The issue was there became a time where we needed to transition into a different something else, and we just couldn't do that. But he inherited a mess and built out of it pretty good, and I credit him for that. He worked hard to get a lot of that infrastructure put in when he first came to Notre Dame, and I will always thank him and credit him for that.
True. Big facts. I feel the same way. Like, he stabilized the program. Like, the program we was going down in flames.
Yeah.
So
he did a good job.
We're coming back. We're coming back, and it's the funny thing. Like, I hate the name drop, but Kent, you need to stop because you guys are front runners, and you guys been front runners.
Yeah.
Okay, we get it. I give Ohio State their credit. I'm from Ohio. I'm from Toledo, Ohio. So I'm around Ohio State fans all the time, and they're just so what do you call it?
Well, dude, the problem is, man, people don't want to hear from a front runner when you ain't in front anymore. That's the problem. Like, if you're really if you're in front,
that's fine,
be a front runner. But when you ain't in front and Michigan steamrolled you, you got to tone down your arrogance a little bit. That's my problem with that group. They're talking as if Michigan hasn't clowned them for 3 years in a row.
Yeah, I'm not tripping on all of it. Like, I respect Ohio State. Like, I grew up on Ohio State, and you guys are, the cream of the crop, and I give them their props. But it's just like, we're on our way up. So why are you looking at a team that's, you say, third tier, and why are you here? I'm like, why are you here? Like, we already down. We're on our way up. We're nipping at your heels. That's why we shouldn't even lost that game last year, because that's why you need to have some humility about yourself, because you should have lost to Notre Dame, but it was just I don't know who decided to take the ball out of Audrey Exner's hands. Like, that's just dumb.
Look at this. Crying Belly says, John, we are in no place to talk. Ohio State has whooped our ass the last 2 years. Bro, they won by a quarter of an inch because we didn't have all the people allowed to play in the game on the field. Like, that's not exactly a beating. Notre Dame should have won the game, and it's Notre Dame's fault that they didn't, man. The way they managed that game at the end on offense and defense was absolutely horrific. Absolutely horrific. Horrific. We blew it.
Yeah.
Crazy boy, crazy boy says, can we stop talking about these wannabes? I'm a wannabe. I'm a Notre Dame wannabe. I want Notre Dame to be elite.
Look, At the end of the day, we are on our way up. And haters want to hate. And it's okay. Even our own fans want to hate. They want to talk about Marcus Freeman. Look, man, we're not getting blew out anymore in big games. Like, we're losing close. Okay. We're getting there. That's just like I'm looking at the chat, like, oh, we're not nipping at their heels. Oh, yes, we are. And they know that. That's why we're on their minds. You know what I mean? We're in recruiting battles that we've never been in before. And they're fighting for them.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
I don't know who these fans are. The haters, I can take the haters. But if you're a fan, be a fan all the way in.
Yeah.
Either you're all in or you're not. Like, give Kelly his props. He got us to this point. We still had at least a B+ talent team when Brian Kelly left. Even though we had some deficiencies in certain areas, cornerbacks, wide receivers, quarterbacks. Like, if you're a fan, be a fan. Know what you're talking about. Because a lot of you know what? I'm not even going to say that. But a lot of people don't know what they're talking about. So be Irish. We're on our way. We have a loaded quarterback room now. We have a loaded cornerback room now. Linebackers are young, but more athletic. Defensive line can, use a little brushing up. Offensive line is always going to be stable. Tight ends are always going to be stable. So what are you complaining about? You guys act like we like Eastern Michigan. Like, this is not Eastern Michigan. This is Notre Dame. We're right there at the doorstep. People relax.
I just
You guys
think,
are tripping.
man, I think with our fan base, we haven't done it in so long. People are preparing for something bad to happen, man. People got to see it to believe it. Like, there's a lot of scar tissue with Notre Dame, man. There's 30-something years of scar tissue. And there are certain people that are just a little hesitant to buy in, man. They're a little hesitant to buy in, and I understand that. But I do think there are tangible changes around the program now that I think are getting overlooked, or people that want to focus on the negative are going heavy on the negative. There's a lot of things changing in the program in a modern, more direct approach, and I really think it's going to help the program. But until you win on the field and win your big games, our fans are going to be asking questions. And when Notre Dame loses, 80 people from other teams are coming in here to give me a hard time. That's the way it's got to be. That's the way it's got to be, baby. Dude, my post-game show numbers, right? That's the biggest numbers I get is on the live show right after the game ends because everybody's all worked up, right? Dude, when we lose, I get way more people than when we win because it's all the fans of the other teams that want to see me have a stroke on the internet.
I mean, like I said, I've been a Notre Dame fan for a long time, and it just hate comes from everybody. And this conference stuff has worn me down for years.
Your hatred nourishes me.
When your conference is garbage. Your conference is garbage.
But
it's
really,
Ohio State.
I mean, let's be honest, though.
And maybe even Penn State. Like, if Penn State want to have a good year, okay, great. Iowa, joke. Illinois, joke. Indiana, joke. Maryland, joke. Rutgers, that's horrible. Stop it. Stop it.
But, dude, here's the thing, though, man. Like,
people need to stop it. They need to be happy that they added those 4 teams from the West Coast. Y'all added a team with a 3-hour time difference.
You know what's going to happen, man? You know what's going to happen is there's going to be some interesting reshuffling in the Big Ten because some of those teams from the West Coast are going to come beat up, I think, some of these mid-tier Big Ten teams, and they're not going to like getting knocked down another peg than they've already been. But some of those teams are going to beat a lot of those that are used to chalking up some extra wins. It's going to change things, man. And I could listen, dude, I could be fair. I give LSU a hard time. Really, historically, they've done good lately and had good coaches and teams, whatever. It's a good football program. You can't deny Ohio State's overall results either. That doesn't mean that I'm not going to give them both a hard time for things, just like they all give me a hard time for things. There's reason to give Ohio State a little bit of a hard time, and there's reason to give Kelly a hard time for some of his stuff. Most notably, wasting a Heisman and the number one scoring offense in America, and you couldn't even sniff the playoff. It's unforgivable. It's unforgivable. But the LSU fans, instead of asking tough questions of why do we have the worst defense in America on your third year, instead of doing that, they were just happy you had Heisman guy and acted like you didn't waste the entire year. You wasted history. You wasted history last year with that offense. And it's a shame. It's a shame. You hate to see it.
I love it.
You hate to see it, man. I hate to see Kelly struggle and waste a great offense. It's upsetting me.
With a horrible defense. But Brian Kelly is Brian Kelly, and you just went down there for the money, and all those players are going to go to LSU anyway, just because they're hometown favorites. Like, they're going to go. They don't care who the coach is. Like you said, weekend at Bernie.
Kelly ain't no dummy. Kelly ain't no dummy, man. You could get a lot of country club. You could get a lot of golf in. You could get a lot of golf in when you know those guys are coming.
He's one of the greatest.
Yeah.
He's one of the greatest politicians ever.
He is. And this is coming.
Even
that's coming from a Kennedy, and I agree with him even. I mean, I agree, man.
Yeah. That's just like when we played Alabama the first time. And, you know, he tried to, lobby, everything for Notre Dame to get a championship and everything. But I'm like, dude, our team is not good enough. Like, no, we don't have enough to compete with Alabama. And they blew the brakes off of us. Like, no, our team is not ready yet. We got lucky. We got there and got the brakes beat off of us. Like, no, I don't want to see that no more.
Yeah.
I want Marcus Freeman to keep building this team depth-wise, because I can't take another beat down. I just can't. I can take a loss.
Yeah.
But not a beat down. No, I'm not doing it. There's no team in the country that can beat down Notre Dame anymore. You can't even name them. Yeah, you might beat us, but you're not beating us down anymore.
Yeah, that's a good point. Brian Kelly had, at least, even in the good years, the undefeated years, he had one game where you end up getting embarrassed. So you're not having that happen anymore, but that is an embarrassing bar. But even in the good years, they ended with Notre Dame humiliation and Brian Kelly getting us blown out. But that's a low bar. But think about it. Even his best years here, where we went undefeated, they ended in humiliation. His best years, bro. His best years here all ended in humiliation. Not the bad years. His best years all ended in humiliation. That's a problem. That's a problem.
Right.
Oh man.
Right. That's why I love your epic meltdown. I had to send a super chat just for your meltdown, man, because it's like the same thing over and over. Like, it's time to get over the hump now. It's time to get over the hump.
That's it.
I don't care who the head coach is, but it's time to get over the hump.
Yeah.
I don't care. I don't care. Just let's get over the hump.
It all starts at Texas A&M, and God help me if we don't win that game. This channel's gonna be a nightmare. Oh man, I don't even want to think about it. I don't even want to think. I don't even want to think about it.
We're gonna win that game. It doesn't matter who starts that quarterback. Our defense is gonna hold us down, and we're gonna win that game.
Man,
I don't care if we win by 1 point. As long as we get that out of the way.
Yeah, you got to get that one. Yeah.
And like you said, we got a couple other filler games. Not like let me throw a jab out. Like, it's not like a Michigan schedule or Ohio State schedule where you're playing Maine first and you're playing Toledo second and you're playing Western Kentucky third. I'm going to tell you this,
though.
Get your quarterback. Get your quarterback feet wet.
For as easy as Michigan's schedule was last year, it is legitimately tough this year. They have a honestly tough slate of football ahead of them. Anything else, man, on the way out? Thanks for calling me on a Friday, man. Appreciate you.
Oh man, nah, man. Hey, we got this, man. Go Irish, y'all. Y'all relax. John, I appreciate your show. I
Y'all
love
relax.
your show. I'm usually
Who are you talking to saying relax? You know that ain't gonna happen here, man. What are you talking about? Relax. What do you think I do?
I had to get some time,
bro.
I had to get some time because usually I'm at work, John. I get it. I get it. I love when you turn up,
bro.
I love when you get mad, man. I love it. It makes my day. I love it.
Relax. You're talking like I ate a handful of gummies for breakfast. What are you talking about? Relax. Come on, man. You know that ain't gonna happen. You know that ain't gonna happen. Have a good weekend, bro. You relax. You relax. Have a good weekend.
We're gonna finish this.
Yeah.
Hey, you too, man. Go Irish,
man. Take care, man. Call me again, man. I like that laugh. Call me again. Tell me to relax. Who do you think you're talking to telling me to relax? You ask for something more reasonable next time. Oh, God, that's funny. What happened? Something happened to the phone. It's being weird. There we go. Oh, man. Look at this. At least BK upped his philanthropy standards with releasing the eagle into the wild. You guys, that was the funniest thing I've ever seen. Because every single thing Kelly does looks awkward. Every single thing Kelly does looks awkward. Everything. Nothing he does looks natural. Every single movement the guy does looks awkward. That and riding the jet ski. Oh, brrr, come to LSU. Brrr, whatever. Releasing the eagle was hilarious. He's like on the edge of a cliff and he's got the leather glove and he releases the eagle. Call. Like it was just so majestic. Brian Kelly, I'm sure he personally rehabilitated that eagle. And he gave his little beak, the milk or whatever the hell they feed birds or whatever. And Kelly nursed them back to health. And then he released them. And when he released that eagle into the wild, they played, "You Can Raise Him Up on Eagle's Wings." And the bird flew away. All because of Brian Kelly. BK has low teeth. Why do you think Packy tried to leave him? Oh, man. It's getting wild. It's getting wild on a Friday. I didn't want it to go this way. I didn't. Phil, you know how it went with that eagle. I'm serious. It was just much. And you just play. I remember that church song from when I was in Catholic grade school, and and you're in church, and I'll never forget that song. "We will raise you up on eagle's wings." You know what I'm talking about? Any of you guys go to that school, Catholic school? You know that song? And Brian Kelly's rehabbing this eagle, and its mom is gone, and Brian Kelly was patiently nursing it back to health on eagle's wings. Oh my God, Brian Kelly, I love you. Tom Frawley, it's good to have you here, man. It's good to see you in here. I miss you, man. I owe you a phone call too, man. Had weird stuff. John gets his internet service from Bulgaria. Bro, I pay extra. I pay extra for fast Wi-Fi. Indy coming to the Big Ten soon. Don't disagree. Don't disagree. Also, people talk about Notre Dame recruiting. You got good news coming on a couple different fronts. So anybody wants to go into the weekend with a positive Notre Dame thought, whatever. I've been hearing information. My people have been messaging me saying, "John, get ready. You're going to have a couple things everybody might probably like here coming." So if that makes you feel better heading into the weekend, keep it in mind. Keep it in mind. Okay? Oh, boy. Oh, I thought of this. My positive ND thought would be if John had a night show. I've thought about it. Like maybe one time during the week, not Saturday when people have stuff to do. But I've thought about that. doing like a more of a night stream, but during the week where everybody's home and they have nothing else to do, I thought about it. So I don't know. I don't know about that. 260, where do you want to go? And then Johnny Boy might have to get ready for this interview. What's going on?
Yo, John, can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
Hey, it's your boy Spencer from Nashville, Tennessee. I had to hop back on here and say hello.
What's going on, man? Ooh, crystal clear phone line too. Warms my heart. What's the deal? What's going on?
Hey, so last week I kept listening after I hopped off the call. It was a great call. And Mike Singer, bless his heart, had to give me some shit about some of my takes. And I just had to give a little rebuttal.
You're not the first one who's brought that up. More than one person brought that up, and they were surprised that Mike went the way that he did on that. So I don't know what the deal was with that. And then some people gave him a hard time. He did give you a hard time. And then some people gave him a hard time back. So yeah, I do remember that. And there were people kind of surprised that he called and then did that. So I don't know, man. Maybe he was just letting it rip on another show. I don't know. I don't speak for Sweaty Mike. I don't speak for Sweaty Mike.
Oh, no. I like Mike. I watch Mike's show all the time. It's good content. Him and Goolsby.
He did give you the business, though. He did give you the business a little bit.
He did.
Yeah.
You know, I said, look, I feel like I could predict 70% of Notre Dame's plays. And he was like, BS, you don't. I'm like, well, duh, dude. Not even opposing coaches could guess 70% of someone's plays. But that's the part of exaggerating that we're all about on this show. And I feel like I could pretty much guess, hey, 2-yard run up the gut.
Yeah.
We do it.
Yeah.
A 4-yard pass that gets deflected. Cool. Now it's 3rd and 7. And for some reason, we're running the ball. So I could guess our plays for the past 5 years pretty solid. And yeah, I'm not going to be 100%. But geez, Mike, come on now.
Yeah. I think, you know what it is, man? I thought of this because a few people asked me, what the hell was that about? I didn't expect that. I think maybe when you do all your stuff on your own show and you're all worried about how it's going and producing it in the moment and paying attention to the chats and making sure you're not lagging and all this stuff. I think sometimes when you go on another show, you have complete freedom and you just let it fly a little bit. I've done that before because when you go on another show, you don't have to put it all together. You just relax and take it as it comes and say whatever. So I don't know.
No, fair enough. And I knew he would be giving me some shit, so I was fine about it. But he also commented on my comments towards Love, Jeremiah Love. Look, obviously, I'm not expecting man to win the Heisman, but I think he's the first guy on offense that Notre Dame's had in 10-plus years who could legitimately be in that position. The man's special. We don't have running backs running slot much. We don't have dudes that are all coaching staff are being like, he has to be on the field as much as possible. That doesn't happen outside of a quarterback for us.
Yeah.
So the fact that we even have that skill potential, that's an upgrade. No, like you said, you even had some shows, and I've had a couple other people comment on him. We haven't had talent like that since what? Like Will Fuller maybe, and even then was a stretch. Like what offensive player have we had that's been so electric that it's like almost every possession we need to have him on the field doing something?
I think the staff knows what they have in Love, and I think Mike Denbrock is going to spend a lot of time this summer scheming up ways to get that kid the ball. And it's going to be through handoffs. It's going to be through some misdirection tricks. It's going to be from some short passes. I seriously believe he is going to break out, and they are going to find ways to get matchups that are favorable for him because he is electric.
Facts. Absolutely. Super electric. Hey, I won't stay on too long. I'm gonna let you get some more callers. I think we go into A&M, handle business at the top of the year. I think Riley Leonard's gonna figure it out. I'm not as concerned about our quarterbacks as I was, even though he has been injured. After seeing everybody and knowing his experience, I think we'll be completely fine. He's gonna, do a lot of RPOs. We're gonna find ways to get the ball out of his hands quick. We're gonna find ways to make him effective with his feet. And I couldn't be more confident in Denbrock's ability to figure that out. I just think for the first time in a long time, Notre Dame's going to be able to handle the offensive side of the ball like we've handled the defensive side of the ball. You can only ask your defense to have 8 straight stops only so many times before they finally break because we can't get anything going on offense. So I think we finally have an option here where we can actually give our defense some rest, actually complement the work that they do over there. I mean, if there's a year to really make a run, it's going to be this year. Next year, all these guys on defense are finally going to be moving on. We're going to have a lot of dudes stepping up next year. We're not going to have a lot of these, comeback starters. And if we don't start figuring it out this year and start getting a plan towards our offensive side of the ball to start carrying some more weight, we might be in for a little bit of a lull here in the future. But I think we're recruiting well, so who knows? But that's just what I'm seeing for this season.
Yeah. Yep. Nope. I think that's a pretty good take. And it is time that the offense carries their weight. The defense has had to do way more than their share and get worn down and not get rewarded. Like, I need that offense to take the next step. I know they scored 39.5 points on average overall, number 9 in the country. Yeah, that's beautiful. In the 3 losses, it was 19 points, and that's not good enough. I'm done with the bar being us piling up points against nobodies. The bar is, what do you do for me against good teams and good defenses? We haven't done diddly poo forever, and I need the offense to carry their weight and support that defense that's been the heart and soul of the program since 2017. Okay?
Yep. Need it. Hey, if you told me before the last 2 seasons we were going to hold Ohio State, some of the best offensive teams in the country, we were going to hold them to 21 points with a quarterback like C.J. Stroud, and we were going to hold this last team with Harrison and all their weapons at wide receiver to 17 points. You tell me that prior to each of those games, and I think we're coming out with a win. The fact our offense can't figure out how to put up more than 3 scores is pitiful. It's absolutely pitiful.
Yep, that's
figured out.
It's got to change, and that's why Mike Denbrock's here, and the quarterback thing is just changed. It's changed. That quarterback room's flipped, and we got to start seeing the results. Eric, thanks for being here. Ohio Podcast. Take care. Thanks for being here this morning. I don't know, man. We'll see what happens. Hey, thanks for calling on a Friday. Have a good weekend.
You have a great weekend too, man. I'll talk soon.
Take care. What a clear phone line on that guy too. I really like it. Andrew, last call of the day. I got a couple more minutes. What's up?
Yeah, hey, man. Thanks for taking me, man. Hey, I was going to call in and sort of try to mount a little bit of a defense for Brian Kelly, only in that but the real reason why I'm calling in is I want to join in on the fun of, like, knocking Brian Kelly. And I think your rants are great. A couple other Notre Dame outlets had some fun rants on PK. It's always entertaining. But here's my issue. And here's my issue is, like, when the other caller before called in and talked about, you got to give Brian Kelly credit for, sort of fixing the program. That is really where my head's at, John. Like, me and you are, I think, around the same age. And I can't get to the point of bashing Brian Kelly because when I was coming of age as a Notre Dame fan, it was really during the Bob Davie era. It was during the Tyrone Willingham era. And then in college, it was during, the Charlie White era.
Yeah.
And I just think that, like, I'm shocked that Notre Dame fans can't put themselves back into your shoes back then and remember how depressing it was to be a Notre Dame fan during those eras. It was not, I mean, like, we can talk about humiliation of getting whipped by Clemson and then getting whipped by Alabama twice, once in the national championship game, once in the Final Four. But it truly pales in comparison to when, do you remember when Charlie White lost to UConn? Like, that was just so embarrassing. Or when the Navy finally broke their 30-year win streak.
What a bad day. What a bad day. Unbelievable.
Just Bob Davie. Like, I even actually met Bob Davie, who's, like, a really nice guy and stuff like that. But just, like, could you remember? Like, he's going like 6-6 and stuff like that. And like, that was the best he was going to do. And then Tyrone Willingham, and then the fiasco with, like, George O'Leary. And then it was, Notre Dame football was in serious danger of becoming what I think Nebraska is today. Because, like, I remember in the 90s, Nebraska wasn't just a really good football team. They were like a true blue blood. Like they were, you know what I mean? They were in the competition to win the national championship every year. They were a better football program than Texas. They were a better football program than Alabama. They were a better football program than Oklahoma. Like you name it, they were on top. And then
here's the pushback.
Yeah.
Here's the pushback to what you're saying. And I see a few people in the chat saying this. They're saying we did and we do give him a lot of credit for all that. But that doesn't live forever. That's like the first 3 to 4 years, you get a ton of credit if you stabilize things and then build it. But the other 7 or 8 can't level off. Like people expect an ongoing progression after that. And it just felt like we had a glass ceiling there and people are frustrated with that. Andrew,
there's no doubt.
Here's the other thing though, Andrew.
Yeah.
I mean this. The personality thing's an issue, Andrew. He rubbed people the wrong way, and Notre Dame's already stuffy and a little pretentious back in that era. And the personality, once you start rubbing people the wrong way, and then one thing doesn't go the right way, you get piled on, and that's how it started to be. The personality was an issue. Personality was an issue. The way he walked around that place and treated people, that was an issue. And that turned people off. And that puts a microscope on you. And that's a hard thing. But he started to wear thin with people.
I don't think there's any doubt that, and especially with the media, I mean, geez, and a media person does not have anything good to say about Brian Kelly. So he definitely mistreated the media. I think it was very telling when Tommy Rees openly, denied his invitation to go down, because that was both a coach and an ex-player. So he clearly has got like a personality issue. My issue with all of this is, okay, fine. If we hit that ceiling and we're supposed to be happy that Brian Kelly moved on, then why'd you hire Marcus Freeman? I mean, I just don't understand it. Like, I can't get fired up about Marcus Freeman because of the results on the field. Like he lost to Marshall. He lost to Stanford. Last year, we were 4th and 14 away from going 8-4 again. And it just, I'm scared we're sliding back into mediocrity again.
But why couldn't I be like, Kelly lost to Navy twice. Kelly lost to a Holtz named Skip at home. Kelly lost to Tulsa and told you to get used to it. Like, there's a lot of, and he did all that with 30 years of experience. And then Freeman does it in year 1. But Kelly got away with losing to Tulsa at home and telling you to get used to the dumb decisions he made. Like, there's that with him too.
Because those losses you're talking about are ancient history. I think there's two eras of the,
and they will be. But when Marcus Freeman's in year 10, these will be ancient history, right? That's how history works. You can't have history when it's now. Right.
Well, I guess my comeback to that is there's 2 eras of the Brian Kelly era, or there's 2 really. It's before 2016 and after 2016. Do you want to criticize Brian Kelly pre 2016? I think you've got a lot of ammo. He did lose to Tulsa. He did lose to Navy. He had that abysmal 2016 season.
It's kind of like 3 phases.
You can't.
3 phases,
you have
right?
To agree that he said it.
The build up.
You have to agree that, yeah.
The build up leading to 2012, and then middling, and then a big drop off, and then a build back up. I see like 3 distinct eras, kind of. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. And I just would say that, listen, I don't like to be in a position of defending Brian Kelly. The first time I called you was when, like, I thought it was so embarrassing that the Alabama game, when they were trying to just like literally run out the clock so they didn't lose by 30 points to Alabama. So like, I don't like being in this position, but I do think that Brian Kelly did set a standard post 2016 where you won 10 or 11 games and had the outside chance of going undefeated. And you were in the conversation, not only to like to be a top 4 team, you were in the conversation at least. My fear is, I don't understand where all this confidence is coming from with Marcus Freeman based off of the results on the field. I feel like we're slipping a little bit based off of what we saw. Like, I mean, Brian Kelly post 2016 was not losing to teams like Duke or Louisville or quite frankly, even Clemson last year. Clemson was not a very good football team last year. So that's where I'm afraid. I don't want to sit here and celebrate and talk about how, dunk on Kelly when I have a coach where I'm concerned that we could be slipping in the wrong direction. And I get what you're saying in terms of elevating talent, but there's some really concerning. You have to admit there was some concerning stuff about in-game coaching last year. Obviously, the 10 men on the field. You have what was the game plan for both Duke and Louisville? It was almost like they didn't have any game plan for that.
You're right about all that.
Go up and beat those teams.
You're right. Yeah. You're right about all that. Andrew, I just think it may be a thing where here's my thought. There was a lot more that needed to be redone with this program to get it to be contender level when Kelly left, and a lot of people wanted to admit. And I'm wondering if you got to maybe take one step back to end up 3 ahead down the road. And not a lot of people are open to wanting to take that ride. You follow me?
I'll just say that that's not what I'll say that if that's the case, then that's the case. And I hope you're right about that you got to take one step back and then 3 steps forward. But I don't know. I read a lot about Notre Dame football, and I followed Marcus Freeman's hiring really closely. And the whole selling point on hiring Marcus Freeman and bringing back Tommy Rees was, we're going to keep this party going. We're going to keep the same standard going. And then, so it's like, I feel like all of a sudden now they're flipping the script. They're trying to reinvent history that he had to sort of like rebuild an entire program. If he had to rebuild an entire program, why for the first 3 years of his coaching is he playing so many Brian Kelly players? Like the entire D line is Brian Kelly recruited guys. I get if you want to give him Morrison, go ahead, but Morrison was technically committed under Brian Kelly. But like a lot of the best players on defense are all Brian Kelly guys. So it's just like I just think that I think it's a little disingenuous to flip the script to say, the reason why we hired Marcus Freeman was to keep it going, and then all of a sudden we're saying that, oh no, it's really a rebuild. I've never bought that.
But you're not open to the idea that once you got in there and really looked at it, there was a lot of parts of the team that were in a way worse place than we originally thought that needed to be totally redone? Like the wide receiver thing? Like the wide receiver thing? Is that Freeman's fault that he inherited nobody's a wide receiver?
Yes, 100%. That's his fault. You're going to tell me
that's his fault?
Yeah, it's 100. I'll tell you why. It's 100% his fault. He didn't take in the first 2 years that he was the head coach. He took one wide receiver transfer, and it was that broken down wide receiver for Virginia Tech.
Well, you're talking about fixing. Wait, you're talking about fixing a problem, not creating a problem. Those are two different things, and they make me look at it differently.
Well, so like, what is Kalen DeBoer? Is he allowed to go down to Alabama and say, hey guys, hey Alabama fans, I didn't inherit the roster that Nick Saban gave me.
No, because
you actually got to do some work and bring in guys. Yeah.
I don't know what you want sometimes, man. I struggle with it. I don't know. Listen, man, you're like, why Freeman? Engaged recruiter and a good personality. And those things appealed to Notre Dame. For where they were at, they wanted a change in the work ethic in recruiting and the way that he talks. He's a good steward. It all makes perfect sense to me. It all made perfect sense to me. But he's got to get better on the on-field coaching. I'm not trying to rush you out. I only got 1 or 2 more minutes. I'll give you the time. Go ahead.
No, listen, I get the appeal to Marcus Freeman. I do get his appeal. But I'm a result-oriented person, and last year was totally unacceptable. They were 1 play away from going 8-4, and so that's why I can't sit here and celebrate and dance on Brian Kelly's grave because that's very concerning stuff. And so he did take a good step forward in bringing in Mike Denbrock, but he sort of even lucked into that. He's lucky that Parker left. So yeah, I just think that my hope is all these people who are really big defenders of Freeman, if he doesn't come through for us, and I'll admit right now, if Freeman makes the playoff, he doesn't even have to win a game. If he makes the playoff, I'll call in and say Marcus Freeman is the coach of the future, and I was wrong about him.
Yeah.
But if he doesn't make the playoff, I want to hear rants about how Marcus Freeman has taken the program in a different direction. That's all I'm asking for.
Yeah, so. That's totally fair. And he's got to get a lot better, Andrew. I'm not saying he's a finished product and everything's perfect and the recruiting is 5-star city. There's a lot of improvement that has to take place. But I do think Notre Dame sees a lot of the arrows in the program pointing up, and they're invested in giving Freeman some time. And this is a big year. I'm right there with you. I'm going to be the first one yelling. If this falls apart, you lose 3 games or whatever, we're going to have a real rough conversation. And I'll be right there with you, Andrew.
Especially,
I will be.
Just last point, especially with this schedule, and then there's a potential reckoning coming, because I count 9 starters on the defense who will not be back in 2025. And so if he's really changing the depth, we got to see it. So I think 2024 is so pivotal for,
you're right.
Marcus Freeman. So.
You're right. And 25 is going to be really interesting because that roster really flips in a big way, and you're going to get more Marcus guys. They're going to have key roles right away. I'm with you on that. I got my eyes on that. Andrew, don't let Notre Dame stress you out over the weekend, man. Have a couple beers, go do something outside and relax, buddy, okay?
Hey, you're a good man, John. You have the best show in the Notre Dame.
Thank you, man.
YouTube
I like mixing it up. I like mixing it up, man, even if it's at my own mental health detriment. Have a good weekend, buddy. Thank you for always being engaged.
Hey, you too, man.
Take care.
See you, buddy.
Oh, man. Lively Friday. I got some things to do tomorrow. I'll look for a post of me letting you know whether we're going to do the night show or not. Thanks to the calls. Thanks to the chats. The call-in banks have been awesome this early summer already. We have a lot more people that want to call on all the shows. It's a good problem to have. Thanks for the calls. Thanks for the chats, all that stuff. All right, I got to go and get ready because me and Goolsby are interviewing old Notre Dame player Kyle McCarthy, current agent. Gonna be fun. Talk to you guys later. Have a good weekend.